The other piece to talk about regarding where the estrogen is coming from is, remember, endocrine disruptors, xenoestrogens, right? So yes, there's the conversation of what estrogen is your body producing? How is your body getting the estrogen out? And is estrogen coming in from out of the body, exogenous places? So that's when we talk about getting the plastics out. Cleaning up your beauty care products, making sure that you're not using tampons. Instead, ideally, BPA-free silicone cups, or if you're going to use a tampon or pad, make sure it's organic, non-bleached cotton. Cleaning up your laundry detergents, your cleaning products, okay? Using more aromatherapy, getting fragrance out, okay? Just like a big sweep, any of your beauty care products. If it says fragrance in there, throw it in the trash, okay? All of that is going to go in and it mimics estrogen. And what happens is, if you think about a lock and key scenario, the key is in and the body goes, up, that receptor's already filled. And it's actually thinking that it's getting estrogen, and it really is getting estrogen. Same with if you're eating meat, making sure that that meat has not been loaded with hormones and antibiotics. Making sure that your produce is BPA free. Yes, I know it's more expensive, but I'm telling you, you either pay now or you pay more later. Fibrocystic breasts, I saw Becca put that in the chat. So fibrocystic breasts, some of it is genetic, just like in texture. Some of us just have more lumpy, bumpy boobs, but the tenderness, that's more of a byproduct of estrogen. Okay. So estrogen makes things grow. So the heaviness, the swelling, the discomfort, that's generally from estrogen. So that can happen around ovulation, or sometimes right before you bleed. Or women beyond menopause, often they'll report that their breasts are actually getting larger. Part of that, remember, is the ovaries are no longer producing the estradiol, and instead the body's trying to figure out, okay, how else can I get some estrogen? So it's coming from the adipose tissue. So in menopause, women naturally put on a little bit of extra fat because it's a place to store and produce estrogen. So it's kind of a compensatory thing. It's not all bad. And hopefully having larger breasts isn't too bad either, unless they're really large up front, and then it can get quite uncomfortable. Specifically with fibrocystic breasts, castor oil can be lovely. So doing castor oil packs for the tenderness. And then same with fibroids or ovarian cysts. Castor oil packs can be lovely. So fibroids, depending on who you listen to, some say that estrogen dominance is causing fibroids. Others say that it's more of a byproduct and exacerbating the fibroids. Either way, fibroids are benign masses that grow within the uterine lining. They're more common in women older than 30, and specifically in African-American population. For some reason, fibroids are much more common. So what do fibroids do? Generally, they're going to cause heavier bleeding. So there's actual more blood loss. It's more crampy, obviously lasts longer, because there's this mass in the uterine lining, and the lining's having a hard time clamping down to stop the blood flow. And it can also be quite painful. Can sometimes get in the way of getting pregnant because you have something in the way taking up space, so implantation can't take place. And the body is just like, whoa, what's going on? So fibroids are directly related to estrogen dominance. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know. I think that estrogen dominance is behind the cause of fibroids. And so what do we do about it? We know that cutting out caffeine and alcohol can shrink fibroid size, and then also perpetually addressing this estrogen dominant scenario. So we want to bring up the progesterone. We want to clean up the exogenous sources of estrogen, and we want to help the body better detoxify the estrogen. And I'll talk about the detoxification in a little bit, because there's 3 phases and I want to make sure you understand all of them. And even if estrogen dominance isn't the cause of the fibroids, we know that it makes it worse. So either way, we want to make sure to nip that in the butt, okay? Because it's no fun. Okay, let's talk a little bit about estrogen metabolism and how we get it out of our body. Okay, so it's constantly circulating. Our body's constantly producing more. We're being exposed to more. The body tries to excrete some. It gets recirculated. Everything that we're eating, everything that we're exposed to, everything that we're putting on our skin will generally go through first pass, second pass as the body's metabolizing it through the liver. That's just how it works, okay? That's why when I recommend vitamin C, my preference is that you do a liposomal vitamin C. For some reason, non-liposomal, when it goes through the second pass through the liver, it gets converted to what some believe is almost toxic. When you go buy vitamin C, wherever you buy it, you just want to look for liposomal. Estrogen metabolism. So there's phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Okay. Phase 1 is what's going through your liver and your gut. Okay. So if your liver is not functioning at its maximal capacity, or your gut has troubles such as a gut dysbiosis, an overgrowth of yeast, leaky gut, that's going to obviously impact how your body is helping to move the estrogen into a form that can be converted out of the body. So the best things we want to do there to support phase 1 would be a plant-based diet, a diet rich in a wide variety of fruits, vegetables, and berries. Okay, I've been taught that the liver has 50 different genes, and these genes' main job is to convert toxins from fat soluble to water soluble, meaning they become in the version that can be peed, pooped, and sweat out. And each of those 50 genes has a specific recipe, so to speak. So you've got a recipe, you're going to bake bread, you've got to have this much baking soda, this much salt, this much flour, right? And if you take the flour out, the bread doesn't work. So it's the same with these genes in the liver. They need all these mixtures of ingredients, and the ingredients all come from amino acids that pretty much all come from fruits, vegetables, and berries. So the more wide variety of color and plants you get in the body, the more likely you're giving these genes in the liver what they need. So that all the ingredients are there, the recipe turns on, the liver is like, I got what I need. Okay, that toxin is being converted, ready to send it out. So then the other thing to support liver is things like dandelion root. So I recommend Dandy Blend, adding into your adaptogen elixirs. Any of your bitters, your bitter greens, they're going to be supporting liver. Phase 1 is that liver gut. Phase 2 is what's called methylation. So methylation is kind of like a genetic predisposition really for you, and there's ways to adjust it, but it's how your body then further converts it or metabolizes it so that it can then be excreted. Okay. So when I look at your Dutch test, we look at your methylation and how is your body sending estrogen out of the body. And there's 3 different pathways, whether it's O16, O4, or O2. And I talk about that when we go over your Dutch test. So if you have excess estrogen or toxins and they keep recirculating, we need to look at your liver and your gut, and then we need to look at your methylation and how do we support your methylation if it's poor or slow in certain areas. And then the last piece, which is phase 3, is actual excretion. So that's, are you pooping every day, right? Are you urinating? Are you hydrating? And are you sweating? And so we've got, how is your body producing estrogen? What toxins or exogenous estrogen are you being exposed to? And how is your body getting the estrogen out? If you tend to have migraines or headaches, I want you to track, because often they're cyclical. And so we can preemptively address it, knowing that the migraine is triggered by a quick shift in the estrogen, either up or down. And so we can try to go in there knowing kind of what time of month that tends to happen and kind of preemptively address it so that the shift isn't so strong. Maybe that's increasing some progesterone via chase tree berry. Maybe that's bringing in wild yam cream. Maybe that's adding in more phytoestrogens, your primrose oil, your red clover, and we'll continue to, that's for kind of a personalized thing. For some of you, maybe it's a byproduct of progesterone being low because maybe you're not ovulating, or maybe you're on the pill. So when you're on the pill, you're not ovulating. You're bleeding, but it's not an actual menstrual cycle. It's just a drug withdrawal bleed. So if you're not ovulating, it's not triggering the production of progesterone. So now progesterone can be low, and now you're in an estrogen dominant state. All right. Y'all are awesome. Ciao.